Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Sports Mixtape. Brad, Jimmy, and Brent.
What's up?
We're going to talk mostly about college basketball this episode. We are almost in the thick of March Madness, so we're going to go over our top 5 90s college basketball teams. We have a little Duke-UNC rivalry talk, and we're going to have a little special guest for that. We won't give it away yet. And then we're going to do a little bit of a roundup with some USA hockey. I know everyone's excited about that. Yeah. Maybe some college football talk. But we're going to start out. We've had some really good games over the past week, college basketball games, ranked teams going down, ranked teams winning. It feels like we're right there. March Madness is like Christmas Day all over again.
It's starting to pick up. It's starting to get that feel. These games are having a little more intensity to them.
It's my favorite time in sports is college basketball tournament time.
Yeah, I mean, we all love it. And I guess I'll start out the past
Give
week.
Give credit where credit is due, Jimmy.
I'm going to let you talk about that, but
you're wearing the wrong shade of blue. Let's give some credit where credit is
everyone
due.
likes Carolina blue.
Duke knocking off #1 Michigan.
Yeah.
You talk about these are two of the best defensive teams in college basketball. They're ranked actually 1 and 2. I heard it on the broadcast.
Not only knocking them off, but taking over the #1
physical game. You got Boozer, who I said it to you guys before the show. I mean this in the most respectful, good way. It's like boring watching him play in the best way. You're thinking, all right, he's having a decent game, and you look up and he's got 19 points and 12 rebounds. Yeah. He's so consistent. He's so steady. This was a big win for the Blue Devils, a very physical game.
Yeah. That was a big win.
Decisive battle. I tell you what, Lendeborg, the first half for Michigan, came out on a tear. He had 15 points in the first half.
I love watching him play.
He's a physical specimen. I mean, this guy, he's going to be an NBA talent for sure.
Yeah.
That was the key to Duke winning this game, though. They locked him up in the second half. He didn't shoot the ball as well, only scored 6 in the second half. I do have to give a little credit, though, to Michigan. Johnson Jr. had one of the best in-game dunks I've seen in a long time. He had to reverse his body in midair, and instead of just laying it up, he was still able to dunk it. It was going to be a head-on dunk. He had a twist, ended up coming up from the side. But yeah, that's a big win for the Blue Devils. They take their rightful spot atop the AP poll.
You know who Lendeborg reminds me of is a little of like Halliburton, the style of play that he plays.
Halliburton in a middle linebacker's body.
Yeah.
He's a built dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give credit to Duke before I start hammering on them later. But, look, Boozer, you hit the nail on the head. He's just such a good, smart, athletic player. And it kind of looks like he's not really trying out there sometimes. But like you're saying, you look up and he has 16 points already.
Yeah. Just steady. Very consistent and very steady.
Yeah. We also had the #2 team go down, Houston. They played #4 Arizona. Houston lost 73 to 66. And this is the time of the year where you don't really want to start losing to these other higher-ranked teams because it's going to hurt you in the tournament. This is what
will come seeding, too, because this was for the sole possession of the Big 12. Arizona had taken over the top spot.
It was a big win for Arizona after having 2 losses in a row. And then coming out, and then they did get handed another loss this week as well.
And I liked Arizona a lot, so these losses kind of piling up for them lately.
Well, and as did Houston. Houston not only lost that game, they were coming into that game off a loss. They lost that one, and then they ended up losing to Kansas a couple nights ago for their 3rd straight loss. So, like Jimmy says, you don't want to be leaking oil this time of year. This is when you want to start trending in the upward direction, getting hot. Seeding does matter. Where you end up and who you end up playing does have an influence on who's
you want that 1-2 seed. I mean, you don't want to start being an 8 playing a 9 or one of the. We know how those games go in the NCAA tournament.
There's a couple kids I wanted to mention in this game who are going to be studs or are already kind of studs and can be difference makers. But this kid Kingston Flemings, he's a freshman. For Houston, but if he sticks around another year and develops as a player, this kid is going to be a great NBA player. But he had 17 points, 8 rebounds in the game. And then Chris Sinak Jr. For Houston, again, 10 points, 13 rebounds. The guy's a rebounding machine, but they couldn't get it done. And they got handed another loss this week as well.
Exactly.
There's a lot of movement going on right now, especially as we get to conference tournament time
And
as well.
You know, just out of respect, Jimmy, I saw Carolina had Louisville this past week. Are they treading water okay with as they're waiting for their stud to come back from injury?
Yeah. I mean, they did have.
I saw the center came back. Which
They had a
was big.
loss in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look. This is Hubert Davis' MO for me. Why I'm not a huge Hubert Davis fan. He gets like that one big recruit and relies on this guy to win them all the games. But look,
Tremble showed up.
Yeah, Tremble showed up. I mean, last game he had a huge game.
He had like 32 points.
If he could really get going and get hot right now, then UNC could definitely make a tournament run. But you got to have Wilson on there. And also, I know Brad was talking about a guy from this game, but number 23 BYU. That could be a team that gets hot in the tournament, but they beat number 6 Iowa by 10 points on Saturday. And there's a guy from BYU that you really like.
AJ DeBonsa. Guy is a phenom. He may, with what's going on in Kansas, Peterson, with his work ethic, it's in question. DeBonsa may end up taking over as, the number 1 prospect for the NBA draft next year. He's got like a Kobe style of play.
I like him a lot.
He does it all. His passes are great. His assisting is great, but the guy puts up points. He finds his spot for his jump shots. He's one of those players who pull right inside the 3-point line, settle for 2, but that's his spot that he's most consistent out.
Yeah.
He'll get on the elbows out by the free throw line. He doesn't miss from there. And he's a high flyer,
fun.
Phenomenal rebounder as well. He gets down in the paint and he works hard. He plays hard.
This is a pretty loaded draft class this year. A lot of good prospects. The top 3, a lot of people are saying are can't miss guys between DeBansa, Boozer, and Peterson.
But real quick again on him, he was 1 assist shy of a triple-double in this game. 29 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. And to do that in college, that's tough to do.
Yeah, that 8-minute difference, when you're playing a 40-minute game as opposed to 48 minutes really comes into play.
There is another player on the other team, Iowa State, though, who has some high potential for the NBA, is Joshua Jefferson. Another multi-tool player. He does it all on the court, similar style of play to DeBonsa, but DeBonsa's just another level.
Yeah, for sure. You guys see any other games that
another upset? Week? Yeah, Kansas lost again. They lost to Cincinnati the other night, and Cincinnati's, no disrespect, but they're not making it into the tournament. And Kansas just keeps they'll win a great game and then they'll turn around and lose in like a what are you kidding me? But
I know.
That's why Vegas always wins.
Man, did you Cincinnati used to have some good squads? Back in that, I feel like I used to remember
Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
And not only Kenyon Martin, but was it Huggins, the coach for West Virginia for years?
Oh, yeah.
Had his start in Cincinnati years ago. But those Kmart teams, they had a couple good squads way back in the day.
He was fun to watch.
Bulldozer. Big, strong.
That's
physical.
back when all the teams had like shorts down to their shins.
Well, speaking of big, strong physical play and players, what's up with all these fights in college basketball?
I don't know. I kind of like it.
An epidemic that's going on.
I kind of like it, but you don't want it to go that way. We don't want it to start.
Or do we? Do we want a hockey version where each team gets that one enforcer?
Well, I think that they should have like a little mini ring on the side of the court, and one-on-one, 2 guys get into it. They get put in a 5-minute timeout, and you have to go and duke it out. And
duke it out for 5 minutes. I don't know.
Well, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute. I don't know. Maybe hockey rules first to go down.
There's one other, not necessarily game, but one other player. But it was the Michigan State-Ohio State game, another Big Ten game. Michigan State pulled away and won 66-60 towards the end. But the guard for Ohio State, Bruce Thornton, is another freak player. He's built, he's taller, but he's built like a Marshawn Lynch out there on the floor.
We love Marshawn.
So he put up, I think, another 32 points in this game.
Wow.
He's basically most of Ohio State's offense. If they had another guy who could back him up, they could be higher up in the rank.
Yeah.
They're not ranked anymore.
Yeah.
But they're not having the best season, but he is very fun to watch if you get a chance to watch him play.
Starting to get excited.
Some of these teams, even if they're not ranked or ranked high, some teams, all you need is that one guy, and we've seen it. If they could sneak into the tournament,
But they're just
you
so
never
much
know what
fun
happens.
to watch. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is going to lead us into our first real segment. And we're going to do our top 5 NCAA basketball teams of the 90s. Now, the 90s had some really iconic teams that we might all have similar stuff. And there's a couple teams in there that'll probably be different. But I'm definitely interested to see what you guys have.
This was hard.
I could have only picked 3 teams, and they would have filled this top 5.
Yeah.
Or 3 schools. It would have still been multiple teams, technically, but I did pick it so I had a different school for each in the top 5, though.
Yeah, so did I, and I couldn't bring myself to pick Duke and any Duke teams in this. No disrespect, but
No disrespect, they only went back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, how many teams do that? We'll be talking about that a little later. This was fun. There were some legitimate. Honestly, doing the research, some of these top 5 teams could be considered like all-time great NCAA basketball teams.
Yep.
This was an era of some.
There's probably 3 or 4
some
of them
good
you could
hooping.
say.
Oh,
you
yeah.
could argue
this is
all-time.
another list that I had, a bunch of teams that I had written down, and as I started doing research, I kind of narrowed it down to the top 5. But does either of you want to lead us off? Brad, you want to lead us off today?
Sure. I'm going with the 96-97 Arizona Wildcats.
That's my number 5 as well,
Is
Brad.
it? All right,
minds
good.
think
I'll
alike.
save you a few.
Yeah.
I have them on the list, but not number 5.
This was Coach Lute Olson, and this team makes my top 5 for completing one of the most difficult runs in NCAA tournament history. They went and beat 3 number 1 seeds.
the only team ever
to win the national championship.
Kansas, Carolina, and Kentucky knocked
What'd
them
they-
off one after another. They were 4 seed.
I think 4 seed they went in, right? But a couple key players on this team. The guard Miles Simon, he was team leader, ended up as the most outstanding player. He was averaging like 18.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists a game. But this was the debut of Mike Bibby.
Freshman
Mike
Bibby.
I'll let you talk a little bit about
Not only
Mike
the
Bibby.
debut of Mike Bibby, but if you rewind and check out previous episodes, this was the debut of the Nike Foam Posit 1.
Yeah.
The original Penny Hardaway shoe was worn by this Arizona team. It debuted in this tournament. Mike Bibby, such a fun player to watch. The true definition of a point guard.
Yeah,
the guy could
for
shoot
sure.
the 3 ball, was a pass-first guy. What's impressive about this team, too, like Brad said, so regular season, 25-9 team. They had some stumbling points and some moments during the regular. This was not a team that just ran roughshod through the regular season. What I love about this team, Brad already mentioned it, knocked off 3 number 1 seeds. They beat the defending champion Kentucky Wildcats in the final. That Kentucky team, that 96 Kentucky squad, is an elite college basketball team. So that was what was impressive about this Wildcat team going on a run. I personally always love when a seed outside of like 1, 2, or 3 ends up winning the tournament.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen super often, but as a 4 seed, love seeing this from this Wildcat team.
Don't forget who else was on this team was Jason Terry.
off the bench.
Yep.
Yeah.
6th man.
Yeah, 85 steals that season.
The Jet.
I mean,
The Jet. He would make those threes and bust out the Jet move.
Yep.
5 players, though. So we're gonna say it was Miles Simon, Mike Bibby, Michael Dickerson, He ended up, that guy had 642 points that season.
I think he led the team in scoring that year, even above
Jason Terry, A.J. Bramlett. All 5 players went on to the NBA.
Yeah, it's a solid. That's an iconic team, too. Those uniforms.
And no seniors. No seniors in their top 8 players.
Yeah.
Mike Bibby, I just remember, like, when he came onto the scene, you know, if you were a youngster like I was, probably middle school, you loved Mike Bibby. You wanted to play ball like Mike Bibby. He was just the man during that time.
How about those Kings teams? They never got over the hump with the Lakers.
Yeah.
But Mike Bibby, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, those
Great
Kings
teams.
teams, they took those Shaq and Kobe Laker teams to the brink in multiple series.
Let's talk a little bit about the pedigree of the teams that they beat in this run. Roy Williams, coaching Kansas, with Paul Pierce on the team. UNC, Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter, Ed Cota. That was a freak team, too.
Yep.
And then that was Dean Smith's final game he ever coached in, handing him a loss in that game.
And I will show some love to Coach Smith, because that guy was a revolutionary basketball coach. Got to give credit where it's due sometimes.
But that Kentucky team, like you were saying, that was coached by Rick Pitino, one of the greatest coaches.
Yeah, defending national champs.
We'll talk a little more about that Kentucky team later, though.
All right, my number 5 is going to be a Tar Heel team. 1993 Tar Heel team. Now, I almost went
Shammond Williams.
94 because, I mean, look, 94 you had Rashid and Stackhouse.
Yeah. You don't win titles, though. You can't make a top 5.
Exactly, but this is a Tar Heel team. They went 34-4, coached by Dean Smith. You had Williams, George Lynch, Eric Montross, Phelps, and Brian Reese.
The big flat top haircut.
Montross.
Yeah.
He was
Celtic. He played for my Celtics.
Yeah, so they beat Michigan. Everyone probably remembers the ending of this game. The infamous timeout, which we won't get into that too much right now. I'm sure we'll talk about it later. But this is really just a super solid, smart team. They weren't like the most physical team, but they're remembered as one of the most fundamentally sound teams in the 90s. And this one really cemented Dean Smith's legacy. I think it was his second title. But yeah, like you said, the flat top,
he was
amazing.
He was like the white admiral.
Yes. He put Montross.
Tough as nails.
Big
too.
Man, protected the rim.
Watching him play with like bloody mouths. You know, because obviously Carolina and Duke were always battling during those
ball
years.
was tough.
And then you also had George Lynch. He was like the Swiss Army knife, rebounder, defender, scorer. He could pass the ball. But this was just such a fun UNC team to watch. And like I said, I could have gone other ones, but you got to win the chip, and that's exactly what they did. My number 5.
All right. Well, since we had the same number 5, Brent, you want to do your number 4 first?
Sure. I'm going with my 1991 Duke Blue Devil squad. Now, this was the first of another team that will show up later on this list. Yeah. But this team was led by Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, and Grant Hill, 3 of my all-time favorite athletes to watch play any sport. Here's why.
91, 92?
No, this is the 90-91 squad. Yeah. Here's why I like this Duke team. They finished the season with a 32-7 record. So again, another team that had some regular season losses and struggles. This team, though, one of the greatest college basketball games of all time in the semifinal, the first round of the Final Four.
Yeah.
Knocked off a UNLV squad that the year before beat them by 30 in the championship game. Not only that, this UNLV squad had won 45 straight games. Duke beats them by 2 in one of the greatest college basketball games ever played. This was Coach K's first title. In reality, well, I'm going to save this, but I will mention this. We also did beat Carolina twice this year. So I got the 1990-91 Duke Blue Devils, the first title in school history, and the fact that they knocked off that UNLV team that everyone, they were 34-0.
Everyone thought they were going to win that.
Absolutely.
title.
So I got Duke at number 4 on my list.
All right. I'm going with the 98-99 UConn Huskies.
That is my number 4 as well.
All right. 34-2 record that year. Coach Jim Calhoun. This started for UConn the prowess and presence of a dominant
their first title.
basketball school.
Still to this day, there.
So this started basically a dynasty for them. They won the Big East that year, the regular season and the conference tournament. But this one was led by none other than Richard "Rip" Hamilton.
So good in college.
Ended up going to the Detroit Pistons, had an illustrious career, NBA champion. I always loved watching him in the NBA, though. After he broke his face, he always wore the mask out there in the court.
One of the best conditioned athletes of all time. Rip Hamilton never stopped running.
That title game, he scored 27 points, which
huge. And he was averaged 21.5 points a game that season. That's awesome. Khalil El-Amin.
Khalid El-Amin is one of my favorite point guards to watch play basketball because he had a unique size for a point guard. He was a little thicker.
But he would box you out. You weren't getting around
his
him.
basketball IQ was incredible.
It's crazy though. He never ended up panning out to have an NBA career, but he had a really long career over in Europe and really successful career. He probably could have stayed in the NBA. I don't know what drew him over in Europe, though.
Money. Also, this team was also known for their defense. Great defensive team.
Jake Voskuhl.
They would force shots that that the other team didn't want to take, and they just played elite defense, and they could score, which just made them super dangerous in the tournament.
This one hurt too. I've got UConn a little bit later on in my list, but this one hurt too because this was a loaded Duke team. They got the final. Trajan Langdon. Listen to this Duke lineup: Elton Brand, Trajan Langdon, Shane Battier, Avery Johnson, and Corey Maggette. They were 9.5-point favorites in the finals. This is one of the biggest upsets in finals history.
I remember that game. Going into that game,
I was very confident going into this game.
I think everyone was shocked at how much Connecticut kind of controlled the pace of that game. Because it was a close game.
UConn wasn't fully on the map yet for this game. They had the good years with Ray Allen, I think, went to UConn. They had a couple.
Walker came way later, but
they had a couple good years prior, but they were not like a blue blood. They weren't a Kentucky. They weren't a UCLA. They weren't a Carolina. They weren't Kansas. They weren't one of these other teams that historically was in it every year.
Oh, that's it for me.
Look, that program. I think you mentioned a little. It completely changed that team changed the trajectory of UConn basketball because they've now become such a powerhouse in college basketball that every year they're competing for a title, it seems like.
That's all it takes for these schools. Not all it takes. It's hard to get this to happen. Land the good coach, have a successful year so that recruiting down the line becomes easier for your school.
Yep. Yeah, that was a fun team to watch, but that's my number 4 as well.
3?
I've got the team that I just mentioned, the team from 1990, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels, national champs that year. Biggest margin of victory in a title game ever. They blew Duke out. They blew the doors off of Duke by 30 points.
That's my number 1.
Okay, I'm not going to say too much. The only thing I will say, and then I'll leave this for Brad. This team was coached by Jerry Tarkanian, the towel-chewing, bald maniac on the sidelines. But this UNLV squad just loaded with athleticism. I'll save this for Brad to touch on.
Yeah, that was a team that, once again, historically, if you were to put every NCAA tournament team in there, you don't want to play this squad.
A team that got in a little bit of trouble too with some of the recruiting and some of those. They weren't allowed a few years later, but yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
You want to do your number 3?
Yeah, they already mentioned my number 3 is the 96-97 Arizona Wildcats. Mike Bibby team. Final 4, most outstanding player Miles Simon. He was just a beast at scoring. Had 30 in the championship game. That game is also one of the classic games of the NCAA tournament, overtime game that they beat Kentucky.
And Simon, one of those guys, no knock, not everyone's meant to be an NBA player, but Simon's one of those guys who had a great college career, a great college season, and it never panned out. And you think of other guys like Adam Morrison for Gonzaga, Mateen Cleaves for Michigan State. There are some guys that just thrived in the college game,
And it's like seems like all these guys that you just mentioned, they could score at will in college basketball, and then for whatever reason it is, you want to see them succeed at the next level, but
the athleticism just ramps up enough where some of the guys.
I guess like any professional sport, it's the best of the best, and he couldn't hang.
All right,
number
three. Is the 95-96 Kentucky team, the Untouchables, coached by Rick Pitino. This was the most stacked roster, I think, ever in college basketball. 9 of them went to the NBA.
They're on my list as well.
This began the recruiting dynasty for Kentucky, where they just, every player, every middle school, high school kid, that was their dream. Go play for Kentucky after this run.
Beloved Celtic Antoine Walker on this squad.
Yep. Derek Anderson on this one. Tony Delk. Ron Mercer.
Nazir Muhammad.
Yep. Yeah. Mark Pope. Like, again, there's a handful on here, names that you never heard of in the NBA, but there's a good 4 or 5 of them that had great NBA careers.
Yeah, absolutely. That was solid.
That was a physically gifted squad.
Yeah,
super relentless defense.
I think they had 9 players that went to the NBA, which is ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
they ended up 27 consecutive game winning streak that year. Their margin of victory the whole season, 22 points a game. That's
and I think they went undefeated in the SEC that year.
Yeah,
I think they ran the table in the conference.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know who they beat though? In this Final Four run, remember Marcus Camby and that UMass team?
Yeah.
Another fun team to watch play.
Yeah.
Another kind of Cinderella story in the tournament.
That was where, eventually Pitino's successor, Calipari, was the coach of that Massachusetts squad.
Yep.
Cool thing about this championship game, too, I remember watching this game as a kid.
Yeah.
This was before three-point shooting took over. Tony Delk at the time tied the record for 7 threes in a game. He was lights out in this finals game.
Yes.
Who did they beat in the finals that year?
Syracuse.
Was that the John Wallace Syracuse squad? I believe
Syracuse,
he eventually played for the Knicks. That was, I think, the John Wallace team.
It might have been. I'm not positive.
Like you said, Delk had those 7 threes. He was the Final Four.
Oh, he lit up that championship game.
But an interesting fact that I did do some research on was the team captain then, Mark Pope, is the current coach right now.
Yeah.
That's the kind of trivia you guys watch for, right there.
That's it.
All right, number 2?
Yeah, jump to number 2.
I had the 99 UConn Huskies team. I thought this team was just such a great team. This, most of what's need to be said has already been said, but this launched UConn. I would argue over the course of the last 35 years, in college basketball, the 2 best programs are Duke and Connecticut. Duke really didn't start its rise until Coach K got there, but this was the first of now 6 championships for UConn.
Yeah, I mean we already talked, but that team, just so much fun to watch. A bunch of NBA talent. All right, my number 2. I didn't pick a team that won the national championship.
Fab Five.
I just couldn't put them on the list because of it.
I couldn't leave them off of the list because to me this completely changed. They brought that hip hop swagger, the baggy pants. They completely changed how guys even in the NBA dressed and acted, and the culture. But yeah, this is a team I mentioned earlier about UNC. They lost to UNC. That timeout that was called by Chris Webber at the end, it kind of solidified UNC's win. But they were young. They had swagger. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juan Howard, Jimmy King, Ray Jackson.
They were all sophomores.
They had a couple chances.
Yeah,
too.
They were all sophomores that year.
Yeah, they were all still young, but the baggy shorts, black socks, hip hop influence, and really they changed like the recruiting visibility of Michigan as well. And this is like a team. They all have positions, but they almost played positionless. It was like more of a, I don't want to say street ball, but it was like almost kind of street ball style with, NCAA smarts in there.
Well, they had the size between Weber, Juwan Howard, and
Yeah.
Jalen Rose. All those guys had size and could move. Very athletic.
And they made college basketball cool to like a whole generation of people. But I had to add them to the list just because of the iconicness of this particular team.
Okay, we up to...
Brett, you're on 2?
I've already said my 2 is UConn.
This is probably going to be your number 1.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
is.
the 91-92 Duke team. 34-2 that season. Again, Coach Krzyzewski getting the national. Was that one his second? This was the
back-to-back.
This was the repeat.
Back-to-back.
Became the first team since the '73 UCLA Bruins to repeat as national champs.
Spanked that Fab 5 Michigan gym Jimmy was just talking about. Beat them by 20 in the championship
Now, this
game.
is tough to do in college basketball, but they were the AP number 1 the entire season.
Exactly.
Never gave it up.
Wire to wire, all 18 weeks.
But star power on this team.
Yeah.
Christian Laettner,
the
Grant
original
Hill,
Big Three. Laettner,
Bobby
Hurley,
Hurley.
and Hill. The
Yeah.
original Big Three. This team,
Take it away.
this is my number 1, so I'm going to take over.
Yep.
This team played, in my opinion, in the greatest college basketball game of all time, the Elite Eight matchup. They beat Kentucky 104-103
Yes.
to advance. Grant Hill, full court pass. Christian Laettner catches it at the free throw line, turns, drains it. In this game, Christian Laettner was 10 for 10 from the field.
Outrageous.
And 10 for 10 from the free throw line. He was the National Player of the Year. Coach K was the Coach of the Year.
And the most hated player in the year.
And we're going to get into...
Almost all time.
Because hate and greatness go hand in hand. And again, we'll talk about this a little bit later. But this 92 Duke team reminds me of watching these games. Brad and I's grandfather, Freddie, was a huge Duke fan. Big reason that I'm a Duke fan, watching these games with him growing up as a kid. Second of, eventually 5 titles for the Duke Blue Devils. And Coach K just put his stamp on the program and said, we're here.
I mean, you're right. I'm a UNC fan, but I mean, those squads, Coach K coming in and really revolutionizing Duke basketball kind of started them off, those 2 championships.
And those Duke teams always played good defense.
Well, this defense gets you far, right? This was their 5th consecutive Final Four appearance, too.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's really impressive.
Was that all Coach K? I think.
Yeah.
Or did he have
his first title was
I
in
think
'91,
so.
and he was there a couple years before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, I'll go with my number 1. Was already mentioned, that's the 96 Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah.
Like we said, just ridiculous depth, NBA talent, dubbed the Untouchables. It was by their own head coach, which shouldn't be allowed.
Pitino's never been short on confidence.
No, you shouldn't be allowed to dub name your own team, but he did. Antoine Walker, Ron Mercer, Tony Delk, Nazir Muhammad, everyone on the team, everyone could score, could play defense.
Everyone on the team could have been a number 1 at any other school.
And if you remember, they'd apply full court pressure that would just break teams. They just had trouble getting past them on that. And they would play fast. They were a fast-paced team. And it was just hard to keep up with them, just with that much talent. But that's my number one, the '96 Wildcats.
A lot of people make the argument that that's one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yeah,
it's
the collection of talent. It's tough now to get that collection of talent on one college basketball team.
Yeah. All right, Brad, did you say your number
You're
one?
down to number
You
one?
already mentioned it. The 90-91 Running Rebels at UNLV.
Fun team.
34-1 that year, 18-0 in the Big West. Tarkanian. Awesome.
So much fun. You couldn't keep your eyes off the sidelines sometimes.
He's a maniac.
Yep. But the best modern team to never win the title the next year is what they dubbed them. But 45-game winning streak.
Crazy. This lineup was incredible.
Yeah, it's
man.
hard to beat.
First team since 1976 to enter the tournament undefeated.
Only team to ever score more than 100 in the title game.
Now, you thought my stat earlier about Kentucky's margin of victory at 22 was good. Their margin of victory this season, 26.7 points a
They
game.
just house teams.
But Larry Johnson.
The grandma.
How can you not
Grandmama.
love Larry Johnson?
I love Larry
Then he went to
Johnson.
Charlotte.
He was a Knick.
Went to the Knicks after
Went
Charlotte.
to the Charlotte Hornets. So that, me and Brent growing up in
I
North
love that
Carolina,
Charlotte Hornets teams when he
Muggsy
was on there.
Bogues.
Yep.
They have, who else do they have on that one?
Zoe.
Lonzo Mourning,
Yeah.
yeah. Those were, and the colors of the Hornets. just-
Everybody wanted that Hornet starter jacket.
yeah.
Larry Johnson's stats this year, 22.7 points a game, but he had over 10 rebounds a game, which was huge. And what a high flyer and powerful.
The
National
athleticism,
Player of the Year
the
this year.
athleticism on this team. You had Greg Anthony running the point guard.
Stacey Augmon.
Another high flyer.
Another one where you had, like Larry Johnson was the number 1 pick that draft. Then you had Stacey Augmon, number 9 pick. You had Greg Anthony, number 12 pick, and Greg Ackles, number 29. So to have that many players on your team drafted that high.
And you didn't even mention the Final Four MVP, Anderson Hunt. He was the actual MVP of the Final Four.
Who no one remembers.
Loaded squad. Shout out to you, Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. So this was harder than it looks like. And if you don't believe me, send in your top 5 to us. But when you actually have to narrow this down, there's 10 teams that won the national championship. I have to make a quick mention of, I wanted to put them on my list, but I had to put both Duke teams on there. The 94 Arkansas Razorbacks team.
Yeah.
The 40 minutes of hell. Jimmy was talking about those
full
Kentucky
press.
teams. This was the team that revolutionized.
Yeah.
They called it 40 minutes of hell because it was a full court press. Corliss Williamson dominated in the NCAA tournament. This was another one. You've heard it already before. Duke lost 3 of these title games. They lost to UNLV, they lost to UConn, and they lost this one to this Arkansas Razorback team. Nolan Richardson coach team. They were a tough team to watch.
There was also a UCLA team. I can't even remember the name. I had them down.
Ed O'Brien team.
Yes, the
Ed O'Bannon.
Ed O'Bannon
and
teams.
the point guard that went coast to coast.
Yeah,
in,
4 seconds.
In the first or second round and got the layup that would have knocked them out early in the tournament.
That was a great team as well. Just didn't
I believe
make the cut.
I believe was it Tyus Edney? Was that who was the
Name's
point guard on that team?
yeah.
I
That
can't.
name's familiar,
Don't
but-
quote me on that one, but I can't remember.
I should have kept it on here
Yeah.
to look, but all right. All right. Well, yeah. Go ahead, write in the comments. I think we have a guest here.
Brad, I think someone's
go and
calling
get
you
it.
out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Brad might have to run. Me and Jimmy might have to finish this one up
In the next segment.
on our own.
So-
and yeah, prior, we'll keep it on college basketball. We were talking a little bit about the upcoming draft class. There's a lot of talent, but I know you were mentioning, Jimmy, some people starting to have some issues with what's going on over there in Kansas. Why don't you
Peterson.
take that,
I
Jack?
get. I've just been hearing. I keep on hearing that he's probably going to be the number 1 draft pick, but people are concerned. This guy keeps on taking himself out of games, missing games, and for as great of a talent as he is, there's a concern that he doesn't love basketball. So for me, if you're going to draft a guy, do you take a guy who loves basketball and that's his whole life? or just the talent. You know what I mean? It's tough to pass on a guy like that, but is he good for your team in the NBA is the question.
And it's always hard to know, like, you know, you get these media reports and we don't know. You know, we're not in that locker room. We're not in that training room. Is he hurt? Is there something going on? That's the hardest thing to figure out. But wait a minute. All rise.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All rise.
All rise. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Honorable Judge Red Wolf from the 11th District of the college basketball courts. I understand,
Welcome, sir.
gentlemen,
Mr. Red Wolf.
I understand that there are charges being brought against each other today.
Yeah.
These charges are of whose favorite college basketball team is the best of all time. The Duke Blue Devils and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now this is not unfamiliar territory to a young Southern boy like me. Folks around these parts have been debating this for centuries.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all gonna have to do some heavy convincing and present a strong case to get this Wolf Platte, red-blooded Southern boy to pick either Duke or North Carolina as the winner.
Yeah, this
You
is...
may present your opening arguments.
Honorable Judge Wolf, before we get started, this did not make it into the pre-admission, but before we get started, I just have two things.
Approach the bench.
Yes, I have two things. I would like you to read this to the jury and audience. What are you holding in your hands there?
These are the current men's college basketball rankings as of today.
And just because the audience can't see that sheet, will you please tell us who's at the top of that list?
These are nearsighted glasses. I'm farsighted. That's number 1, Duke Blue Devils.
Jimmy, you can't handle the truth.
Well, yeah, that would be a great case. We're doing the current best team. But they did play once this year, I believe. I can't remember who won that game, but I think it was the Tar Heels.
Touche. Touche.
Let the record show the Tar Heels won that game.
Now, I will start out by saying, if you had to pick a rivalry, forget just college basketball, but all of sports.
I love pickle rivalries.
Well, if you pickle a rivalry, then this is the best one around, some would argue. But
I love pickled eggs, too.
well, we know, Judge, you are Southern. But I'll just start out a couple points.
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection
I-
sustained.
I have a motion before this malarkey begins from the other side of the bench over there.
I'm going to have a motion also from that barbecue I ate earlier.
That before we get started, because we don't even know if he's fully human, that any evidence regarding Michael Jordan be tossed from the case. We have someone who literally saved the world. He saved the world.
He's
He
a
saved the
superhero.
Looney Tunes. I make a motion to anything regarding Michael Jordan. We do not know if he's truly a human or if he's a cyberkinetic organism.
Judge, superheroes are real
Objection
people. Okay?
denied.
They're real people. I won't even go too much into that, or will I? All right, my first point. NCAA championships. Total championships. Close, but UNC has 6 NCAA titles. Duke, 5.
Were they playing with peach baskets during the first one though in 1957? Was that a peach basket?
It could have been.
Peach basket up there.
But I mean, some would argue that it's a lot harder to make a ball in a peach basket than a rim. So, but the Tar Heels Final Four appearances as well. Tar Heels 21, Duke 18. Another check mark for UNC right there. Brent?
Okay. First off, let's just start with these colors. I mean, what are we, painting a baby's nursery? You got that grotesque, childlike color over there.
He hates the sky, clearly. He hates the color of the sky.
We have royalty over here. And if we're going numbers, we could talk about ACC titles, one of the biggest things in North Carolina that matters. ACC championships, Duke's. You know, I'm not as much of a numbers guy as I am a stories guy. I like the storytelling. But Duke has 23 ACC championships to Carolina's 18. And if we're going to talk about this year, tip of the cap, Carolina did win. How about those class act Carolina fans after the game? Maiming Honorable Judge Wolf, these Duke coaches.
Well,
Let's talk about class acts.
I will talk about that. I will retort that. The police looked into it, and they basically said that the Duke coach is an absolute liar. They said there's no evidence on camera that anyone, let alone multiple Duke coaches, they couldn't find one that got hit. So it just seemed like, they were crying a little bit. I don't know.
All right.
Let's talk about coaches.
Let's. Are you sure you want to go there?
Yes, because I'd argue that I have two great coaches at UNC, all-time coaches, to their one coach. Who's a good coach? I like Coach. I'm not even going to throw shade at Coach K.
How many gold medals do your coaches have? Oh, that's right. Team USA. Coach K's got 3. All-time winningest basketball coach in history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I didn't even have that on there.
Your rebuttal, sir.
Gold medals in 08, 2012, 2016, beloved by NBA stars. Coach K had the honor of leading Team America.
Well, gold medals, we will talk about that. Who is the greatest Olympic gold medalist ever in basketball? He went to UNC, and his name is Michael Jordan. Also, UNC. Let's talk about a pure college basketball program as to a one-and-done factory at Duke. Duke loves their one-and-done guys, and they've had a lot of great players, I will say. But UNC seems like they build more. They try and get in recruits and build them in the program. And the success has just been continued for a lot longer. Like you said, from peach baskets to the rims that we have now.
Good point. Of those 6 titles, which were the 2 that Carolina went back-to-back on? I'm just curious. Because I believe all great dynasties and teams are able to do it more than just once.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting. That's right. Carolina hasn't.
Duke!
91-92, a back-to-back championship. I also would like to point this out. Jimmy, would you argue that the Yankees are baseball's all-time greatest franchise?
Yes.
You think that's pretty clear, right?
Sure.
Now, what comes with...
Stay on.
What comes
I'm at a loss of words.
What comes with greatness, Jimmy?
Responsibility.
Yes. If you're not a Yankees fan, though...
Trophies.
Hatred.
Yeah.
Genuine hatred. I'm talking about there is hatred towards the Yankees. There's hatred towards George Steinbrenner. There's hatred towards those titles. What does some of Duke's greats have in common? Christian Laettner, one of the all-time most hated players. Bobby Hurley, Coach K. There's a genuine hatred that people that don't like Duke typically feel towards Duke. You see it sometimes with Notre Dame, programs that in the past have been great. And so I would argue there's not a whole lot of Carolina hatred out there.
I hate Carolina, and I hate Duke.
If you're from North Carolina, there is a lot of hatred for all these teams.
Yeah. Only 8 programs have ever gone back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. And I'd argue, though, Duke was hated for a little more. I just don't think people like watching rich white guys win championships.
Objection, Your Honor. Bobby Hurley grew up in Jersey City. His dad was an iconic Jersey City high school basketball coach.
Oh, yeah. Head-to-head, I mean, UNC is about 26 games ahead of Duke, 146-20.
But we don't really consider Duke even starting until Coach K got there.
Well, you don't. The team was around. But yeah, you can forget about the past. That's fine. But I will say the modern era, I think UNC has got one win on. I think I think it was tied before that last game.
Yes,
so
yes.
It is a lot tighter, like you would say, since the Coach K era.
Well, Jimmy talked about responsibility, and you're right. With greatness does come responsibility. Duke, squeaky clean program under Coach K. I will give a tip of the cap to Coach Dean Smith. He was a molder and a builder of men. A lot of guys talk about the impact that he had as like another coach, father figure in their life. Nothing bad to say towards Coach Smith. His successor, however, Roy Williams. Let's just watch.
Coaches ever.
Let's just watch and look at Roy on the sidelines these days. First off, what the heck is he wearing? These outfits that he's showing up to games in. But why don't we
He's enjoying retirement.
We talk about responsibility. Those early 2010s Carolina teams, they got in a little bit of trouble for these kids and some of the classes that they were attending and going
Roy
to.
Williams, Your Honor, knew nothing about this.
Big time controversy there. You will not find that in the hallowed halls in Durham.
No, because they just give them the grades they need, and they don't even need to do that there.
Well, before we, get to our closing arguments, you have any other big points you want to make here, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, you keep on talking about Coach K. Final home game at Cameron, lost to UNC. Final game ever, and perhaps the biggest stage ever, the 2022 Final Four, Your Honor. Okay?
Is this the same Coach K that is the all-time winningest college basketball coach in history? More wins than John Wooden, more wins than Dean Smith, more wins than Roy Williams, 1,202 wins to 368 losses. And I will mention again, in case someone was going to the bathroom, 3 gold medals. That Coach K?
I am talking about
now,
that. Talking about that Coach K.
I will say the USA Olympic team is not the Duke Blue Devils.
Look, Coach K not only that Final Four, that was his final game. He had to lose to UNC, and then he went off into the sunset. So
off
really,
the top of your head, who's Carolina's best current active player in the NBA? Why is he taking so long?
Because it's not about the NBA, it's about
Danny
college.
Green.
Why is he taking so long?
It's about college basketball.
I can rattle off the top of my head Jason Tatum, NBA world champion.
How many titles did he win at Duke? Exactly.
Jimmy still can't come up with a current Carolina guy in the NBA.
I will not go off topic.
This is an all-time
Well, look.
debate.
Let's talk about... I got to keep it on Coach K here. Because we got to bring a little bit of pop culture into this.
Sure.
All right. I already showed the Space Jam video. Hopefully kind of took a little wind out of Jimmy's sails with Jordan there. But we've discussed a few times. Again, if you want to rewind, check out some good old footage. We had our top Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah.
And the three of us agreed. The three of us, I mean, Coach, Honorable Wolf, our other podcaster, Brad.
That's Judge Wolf to you.
Honorable Judge Wolf had Bud Light as one of his top commercials. Jimmy and I agreed. Incredible creative team. Do you guys remember the Bud Light limo commercials where the guy would get off the plane and go, and there would be a sign, and it would be like, "I'm Dr. So-and-so? And the guy would say, yes, I am. Well, do you remember the Coach K one? The guy gets off, and they're holding these signs. These are the people that pick people up in limos when they get off the plane. And he goes up, and he goes, Coach Kruzerowski? And the guy goes, Coach Krzyzewski? Yes, I am. And he gets a limo ride, and he's in the car, and he's calling these recruits, and he's calling other coaches. Iconic Bud Light commercial. They wouldn't do that with Roy Williams. Are you kidding me?
Look, Roy Williams is enjoying his time in retirement with his wife. He's taking chances in his wardrobe choices, which I like, I admire. So, and he's getting it in with the UNC students as well during games. But, you know, and obviously both teams have had great players. And yes, MJ being, you know, the greatest player ever.
Well, I think Jimmy touched on it to start. You've got Yankees, Red Sox. You've got Celtics, Lakers. You've got Michigan, Ohio State. But in North Carolina, it all comes down to Duke, Carolina.
Yeah, and even if you're not a fan of it, this is just, I think we talked about this before the last game, how if you don't watch this ACC rivalry, usually for the most part, they're always great games, especially now getting down toward the end of the year.
These schools are separated by 8 miles.
Yeah.
They're right in each other's backyard.
I used to run. I used to run through a lot of people's backyards in Chapel Hill and Durham in those days.
So I'll finish off with my closing arguments here.
Please do.
UNC has more NCAA titles, more head-to-head wins, more Final Four appearances, the greatest player ever, and longer sustained success. Which to me, you know, Duke is right here, but UNC is right here. They're just a notch above Duke, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he probably won't be able to use that argument after this year when Duke wins the title. But I would argue the other side of that before I give my closing statement to the Honorable Judge Wolf. I would argue that, you know, Carolina's first title, 57. The other one came in the early 80s. Since then, only 4 titles, while Duke has really been on a roll, picking up steam. But I want to finish this, Judge. Honorable Judge Wolf, as a card-carrying member of the NC State Wolfpack fan club, can you honestly look yourself in the mirror tonight and get a good night's sleep,
Not wearing this,
knowing that you ruled in favor of the UNC Tar Heels?
Or
I rest my case.
Or for Duke, and let's go this. You're a church-going man, Judge. Do you want a team to have the devil in it? They are a satanic school with the name devil in it, okay? I rest my case. You want God or you want the devil?
I'm going to need a minute to deliberate. But while I am, I will have to rule on one thing. The UNC Tar Heel cheerleaders have the edge on the Duke cheerleaders. And I'm talking to a specific one. Yeah,
You got to calm down, Judge.
Oh, sorry. Well, this is a debate as old as time, like good versus evil, peanut butter versus jelly, steak versus chicken.
Oh, I like steak.
I think the only way to decide the winner is a fair game of rock, paper, and scissors.
Let me ask you this. Would you ever marry a woman who's a Duke cheerleader?
I don't think Duke has ever had cheerleaders, first of all, and if they do, they're probably men.
All right.
I honestly, as a judge sitting in the middle, and I am in the middle because I'm not a fan of either one of these teams, the debates were both compelling on both sides, and I honestly don't know if I could choose as a Wolfpack fan.
I'll Rochambeau.
So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to leave it to the jury. All our watchers, our followers out there in the internet land, we want you to vote. Let us know who is the best all time between the Duke Blue Devils and the UNC Chapel Hill Tar Heels.
And if you hate both of these teams or either one, we want you to tell us that as well. We love the hate.
Thank you for your arguments, gentlemen. Court is closed.
Nice work, Jimbo.
Good job.
Thank you, Judge. Sir. Thank you,
Hopefully you have me back another time.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for having me.
All right, Judge. We'll see you again. You tell Brad that he can come back in.
Well, Brad's going to be pretty excited about some of the Roundup news.
Yeah, I think so. He's got his favorite team in there, the Wolfpack. But, and I will say this about doing this Duke UNC research. Very hard to, it's so paper thin tight between these two teams, really in a lot of the different categories that, if you even Google who's a better team, Google doesn't even know.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of stuff out there.
Oh, there's just something to a good rivalry. It's almost like you gain a level of respect for the team that you hate.
Seemed pretty important.
Yeah, you missed it.
What was the argument?
It was Duke versus UNC.
It was pretty
suck.
Pretty easy case.
Go Wolfpack.
Wolfpack. He made us put on his Wolfpack lights behind. But yeah, it was fun. All right, so we're going to go in right here. We're going to kind of close it out, talk about a couple things going on around sports around America. I think the top headline here, if you didn't watch it, Team USA in the Olympics in Italy played Canada. Canada is a powerhouse, and UNC was not supposed to even be in that game. And
UNC?
I mean,
They weren't in that game. It was Duke that had the gold medal. Duke, the gold medal won.
This is Team USA. They were actually Canada's favorite.
Subliminally, he knows who the better team is.
I said UNC. But yes, Team USA. This is a huge win. We haven't won the gold medal since the 1980. And this is a great game, too. Overtime game.
Speaking of Devils, me and Brent are New Jersey Devils fans for hockey. And Jack Hughes, man, I am so happy to have him as a Devil. We drafted him number 1. We've gotten a couple good draft picks since, but he's a young kid building as a leader as the Devils for the Devils team. And putting them back on the map. It's been a while as a Devils fan.
The Hughes brothers, both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them had big game-winning goals during this thing. I just found this out today. Their mom is arguably the greatest athlete for the University of New Hampshire. Division I program.
Really?
She played 3 sports at a Division I college program.
Wow.
I think she is part of something with the USA women's hockey team.
She was on I believe she was on the original gold medal winning team.
Shout out to the USA women's hockey team,
Exactly.
also winning gold against Canada.
Yes, we don't forget
2-1.
about you.
Getting it done.
Both men and women winning gold in hockey.
How iconic was that picture?
Oh, yeah.
Hockey players to me,
Another breed.
Out of all the professional sports, though, they seem like the most down-to-earth, blue-collar, go grab a pint at the bar kind of guys. In sports.
Punch me in the face, and then they're hugging at the end of the game.
Yeah, that picture, just an iconic. That picture will live forever in history.
Hughes gets the high stick, gets his teeth knocked out, but then he does return the favor later on, high sticks, and knocks somebody else's teeth out.
And then I saw Canada, a couple of guys throwing shade at Team USA, saying, I know USA won gold, but, you decide. Who do you think was the better team in the Olympics? Which
it's like what Jimmy was just
that's what the game decided.
And look, if any current NBA player were to get their teeth knocked out in a game, they'd probably miss the next 6 to 8 weeks of play. This guy missed 6 to 8 seconds jumps right back in the game.
They spit their teeth out on the ice and keep on going and playing.
Pretty special moment too post game when I may be mispronouncing this, but Gaudreau,
Gaudreau, Johnny Gaudreau,
his kids on the ice with the team.
Yeah, that was
celebrating
like
post game.
Yeah,
what a really cool moment.
And his parents were in the stands. I mean,
tragic story there.
Yeah,
but great way to honor him. MVP to me though. Goalie, Connor Hellebuck.
41 saves.
Unreal. Yeah. And some saves that, I mean, nobody's making these saves. It was like by the will of God that he made some of these saves.
They just announced that he's getting the medal, the U.S. Medal of Honor, I think.
I saw that.
For his performance.
The country.
Yeah, basically for his performance.
How about the fact that he assisted on the overtime game-winning goal?
Yeah.
Got the assist
now,
on that
is
goal.
that good? The 3-on-3 in overtime is, I know a lot of players, especially on Canada, didn't like. They were like, "It's not real hockey. You need 5. Why go to 3-on-3?" But
I would love to see that in like college basketball overtime.
I kind of like it too. Yeah,
3-on-3. I would love that.
Overtime, put your best 3 out there and see what happens.
Gotta win by two. One more interesting fact here: movie watchers. Remember the movie Miracle?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Guess who got cut on the roster on that 76 team?
1980.
1980,
yeah, 1980.
Jack Hughes was cut on that roster in the film Miracle. If you go back and watch it, the coach is making cuts on the roster. The name Jack Hughes gets crossed off.
Oh, interesting.
They never knew he'd come back.
Nope.
40-something years later and win it for us.
Guy kept in great shape.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big moment. That was a lot of fun. I actually woke up and watched that game. First full hockey game I've watched in maybe
I love it. I love hockey.
10 years.
That's a great sport to go and watch live.
Oh, hockey live. When you walk out and just see that bright white ice, I mean, there's nothing like that.
There's only one other better sport to watch live is amateur hockey, because you get nothing but goals and nothing but fights. We have the Norfolk Admirals close to home here, and we used to go a lot, my friends and I.
Yeah. Also, little news, Brad was talking about NC State. They got a big commit.
Right? Keeping it in the family.
Phillip Rivers' son, committed, signed, going NC State. I don't know much about him yet.
I think he's the number 11 QB in that class right now. If
he's anything like his dad, he'll have a heck of a career there.
I'm pretty sure I looked it up. He's already like a big kid, and he's not even a senior yet, I believe. I think he's a junior this year. Well, so he'll grow some more. But, yeah, if he turns into anything like his dad, NC State is they're going to be happy.
We'd be happy to have him, yeah.
All right, I think that about wraps it up, but we appreciate you guys watching another episode of the Sports Mixtape. Coming up over the next month, we will have a lot of NCAA tournament talk. We have some baseball talk. NFL free agency is coming up this month.
Golf's starting to heat up.
Yeah, golf's starting to heat up, and I'm just going to put the feelers out there now, but we are going to, this year for the NCAA tournament, we are going to do a bracket, a public bracket that we'll put out.
With a cool prize.
Yeah, the winner will get a prize, and as we get to that, we'll explain that more, but keep your eyes peeled on our Instagram for more info on that.
We'll tell you how to sign up for the bracket, what it's going to take to sign up for the bracket. No money involved, so there won't be any entry fee. No. There will be a small chore to do to get into the bracket. Very simple and easy.
And speaking of that, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It really helps us out. Give us a like. And if you've got like a sports fan in your life, someone who loves sports, send this episode to them. We would really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
That's it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you all watching, and we'll catch you next time on the Sports Mixtape.